Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the World Championship Series Season 1 2015. And welcome to the ESL Arena once more here in Cologne. We've got another very, very good audience. We're lovely to have you with us as well. It's going to be a fantastic evening of StarCraft II. We've got Group E for experience this evening, because our 4 men are all aged over 24. In fact, the average age, the highest in the round of 32 in Group E, of 25.5 years old. That's almost as old as me. Careful. We also have, of course, all 8 groups playing out over the next few days, and we've already had 4 groups, of course, so let's show you them right now. Groups A and B were completed in America last week. We've had Group C and a very long Group D completed today, and Group E today, sorry, F tomorrow, and then the last 2 groups will be played out in America at the end of February. Now, hopefully, we've got Sean ready to give you a preview of Group E. Apparently not. Okay. Well, never mind. It's okay. We'll get Sean's view a little bit later on. So, Stefano is with me, with Kalaris. How you doing, guys? Yeah? You can, like, someone can turn your mic on. That would be good.
It's not on, is it?
Yeah, it's on now, I think. Maybe.
Can I tell you how it's...
Let's have a look. Is it? I don't know. Let's have a look.
Otherwise, I'm doing
it's all right. You're all good now. Yeah, you're all good. I'm just, keeping the house in order. Is that all right?
Yeah, perfect.
How you doing?
Absolutely good.
Have you been asleep since last night?
I slept. I couldn't sleep, basically.
Okay. Really?
Yeah, I couldn't. I kept thinking about what happened. It was too much emotions, and it was really hard to process such like a big information. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm still under shock. Let's say.
You're still in shock?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, if you're in shock after yesterday, you might be in double shock.
And that's like the issue I'm concerned about right now, is that it's not over.
No, definitely not over. James, we might be in for some long games again today. Explain why.
Yeah, there is the potential of that. We have FireCake here, who is notorious for such kind of things, and infamous almost for them. And we could see him push it into that situation, that's for sure.
All right. Let's take a look at all 4 players in this group, our group of E for experience. PuCK, of course, coming over from the United States. Great to have him here in Europe for a change. It's nice to see him on the road. He's played plenty of tournaments, of course, throughout 2014. Had a couple of notable results as well on the way, James.
PuCK, sorry, you mean?
Yeah, PuCK.
Yes,
yeah.
Sorry. He actually has been very, very consistent in terms of Premier League appearances. I think it's 6 in a row now. Yep. Of course, doing very, very well in Season 1 last year, which was pretty good. And then even towards the end of 2014, as an American player, not discrediting them at all, but he's performed pretty well. He got some good results in Red Bulls and was even able to do pretty well in some other tournaments as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We also have 4GG and Sen. Very interesting to have those 2 in here. They've been around for seemingly ever. But 2014 was a breakthrough year for both of them. They both won a Premier tournament for the first time. And in fact, Sen became the first non-Korean to win since 2012. So big years for both of them. Can they repeat that in 2015?
Potentially. They were mentioning the Sen tournament that he actually won. It was no small feat either. I mean, I think he beat Bomber along the way during all of that. So some really good
plenty of good Koreans in that game.
Yeah. It wasn't a small feat by any means. But then you have got 4GG on the other side of this, who for me is the favourite of the entirety of this WCS season completely. I don't see anyone really standing in his way. So let's see how he's going to be able to do it.
I think Captain America would like a word with you.
He'll crush him.
Bold statements, I like it. It's good.
All right.
Well done. Okay. Let's take a look at the bracket as well and show you how the group's going to play out. It's a dual tournament bracket as usual here at the WCS, and we'll kick off with PuCK versus FireCake first. Good to not mix your words up on that one, by the way. And Sen versus 4GG will be our second game of the evening. So we're going to focus on those games first. PuCK versus FireCake. But we, of course, do need our 2 players to come out and join us. So first of all, please give a warm welcome to a man who has been dubbed Stefano 2.0. I'm not sure if that's for his play or his attitude, but we're about to find out. Please welcome FireCake. And his opponent is an American who is well-travelled from 2014. He's had an exceptionally good year. For Americans, that is. Please welcome PuCK. I tease, of course. No offence meant. No offence at all. Although he's so poor, he can't afford shoes this week.
Buy him with the winnings. He'll be all right.
Will he be all right, will he? Will it work out all right for him tonight, do you think?
I think he's got a good shot, actually, as the group goes. When I look at this group, I think that PuCK is able to rival the Zergs pretty well. Maybe not so much 4GG, who, again, for me, is the standout player in this whole WCS season. But I think PuCK has even a very good shot against the Zergs.
We'll start with FireCake. I want to talk to you about this young man.
Yeah.
Some have called him rude, arrogant, brash, unapologetic.
Or just French.
I'm glad you said that one on me. What is it with the French Zergs? Why are they so fearsome?
I mean, like, we have everything to, like, every conditions are meted to be able to brag, basically. Because we have the units which make people angry, so we are called arrogance for that. We have the accent, which makes us being not polite, and sounds not polite, basically. So we called rude, and we're winning, basically. Even though, like, we don't practice because we have the swarmers. So yeah, everything is going well. So like, it's just not because we are French or anything. It's just because we are French and Zerg, it makes it perfect.
Okay, all right. Just a quick check on his statistics would suggest that he's actually the worst player in this group, FireCake. But that kind of belies his ability, and we've seen him come through Challenger against a quality player of Starbucks quality, which then means you have to throw the stats out of the window again. So where do you rate him in the group? Is he the underdog?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, he has been at 4 Premier Leagues, so now he's made himself a mainstay, which is an impressive feat, to say the least. So when you refer to an underdog in these groups, all the talent that we have in the WCS Premier League is very, very good now anyway. So it's no shame to him at all, but going up against the likes of these players that have a lot more accomplishments under their belt, it's definitely an underdog.
Yeah, it's a very interesting matchup, this first one, because it's FireCake versus PuCK.
Yeah.
Very inexperienced, both of them, although plenty of Premier League experience over the last 2 years. But they're going up against two men who've been around for a long time. Sen is 28 now. He's been around the world. He's been there and he's done it. 4GG, again, has been around for a very long time, and you know exactly what you get with him. So how do these two young players kind of go up against those two established
I think
players?
they got, for PuCK or FireCake, they got like the perfect draft because they know or for FireCake's case, he knows he's good against Protoss, and Protoss will be his best matchup. And he want to start with that to get confidence into the games. And if he goes against Sen, PvZ is kind of random, or if he goes against 4GG is really stable. And like Swarm mostly, I don't think he cares at all. Like he won't mind. So it's good for him. And PuCK, he just have to beat the Swarm, like no surprise for him. If he does that, he'll be happy and go further away.
Yeah, I think we might see a few Swarm hosts tonight, especially if we see a Mech from 4GG
I would say,
and Protoss obviously from PuCK.
A good 100 to 150 swarmers.
Okay, he's even going for numbers now on predictions. I like this. I just want to draw your attention to something that took place in September of last year. There was a match with Mana in WCS Challenger that lasted for 3 hours, 4 minutes.
I think it's bad luck to mention it.
54 seconds.
Do not mention it because it might happen again. So.
Really?
Yeah, it's bad luck to mention that match.
That can't possibly happen again.
Imagine that happens now. We go for 3 hours and 30, just one match.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 match, 7 hours. 3 match, 10 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
4 match, we are tomorrow.
This is quite ambitious. I mean, that happened yesterday. We did run through to tomorrow.
Yes, we did go through to tomorrow quite substantially.
We might go through the first extension of our tournament another day, maybe to Monday.
Maybe. All this talk, though, the games last night were a lot of fun to watch and a lot of fun to witness at the end of the matches with the emotions that the players had.
That's true. Like, during the whole game, we are kind of bored, but when it comes to an end, like, the emotions we get are so strong, and for the first time, I actually was happy our game was over, and I was cheering for someone to win. Basically, usually, I don't really care. Like, he wins, he loses, so who cares? But like, no, I really wanted the one leading to win, so the game were over, and we don't go through a third match.
In terms of these two players, have you got some home French bias in you towards FireCake? Do you want to see him do well?
Absolutely not.
No? Okay.
No.
All right. It's worth asking. Predictions then, gentlemen. PuCK or FireCake?
I'm going to go to PuCK 2-1, I think.
Okay.
I look at FireCake first and I see...
Just whisper it, he won't hear.
Okay. I want him to lose, but I think he will win.
Lovely prediction.
Okay, good predictions. Thank you, Stefano and Kalaris. Very interesting predictions. Send us your predictions via the usual social media outlets. You can do so on facebook.com/StarCraft or on the official StarCraft channel @StarCraft on Twitter. Make sure you're using the hashtag #WCS as well, as we can see all of your tweets out there as to who you're rooting for in Group E. You can pick any one of the 4, or even a couple of them if you're really brave. Right, time now to hand you over to our team commentary team. Now, some say that our 2 commentators could commentate an entire map by only looking at the mini-map. And that when they go to sleep at night, they spend 7 hours commentating on swarm hosts. All we know is they're Todd and Apollo.
Thank you, Red Eye. Not too sure what to make of that introduction, but thank you very much nevertheless. Welcome here to the casting desk for day 3 here in the WCS Premier League. Well, day 3 in Europe, that is. Day 5 overall. We're here to bring you the first game of the day. Looking forward to this one. I have my Protoss expert next to me.
Yes, I think whatever Red I meant here, he meant it as a compliment. So
I think
that's
so, yeah. That's why I said
that.
thanks. That's why I said thank you. Didn't want to be too disrespectful there, but a little bit confusing with that one.
We got a PvZ on our hands with a massive Swarmos player against an American player who I believe is not necessarily going to be all that accustomed to playing against this trend of Swarmos, because this is the turtliest, if that's a word, style of Swarmos that you can play against, playing against guys like Stefano, FireCake. So I'm not sure how well he's going to adjust to it. For me, one thing that makes this match very interesting is that I talked to both players. They both believe they're going to win, and quite comfortably as well. I talked to FireCake earlier today. He's like, I'll be all right.
Right.
I'll make my Swarmos, I'll be all right.
And what did PuCK say?
The same thing.
I'll make my stalkers and I'll be all right.
And I asked FireCake if he knew the style of PuCK. He's like, he's a standard Protoss who makes Blink Stalkers, right? So
I can't fall in there. That's pretty correct. But here is FireCake, of course, from France. It's his 4th time in the Premier League. Very solid performances. As he's having a stare in at us a little bit there, but
that was the I'm gonna make Swarmos smile.
Just you wait, guys. We'll see how well he's going to do today, because out of the 4 players that we have in the group, he surely must be looked at as the underdog of the 4.
I think so, but I feel like in WCS he finds that extra motivation to play well for quite a few seasons already. He's made Premier League a few times, and he's the only French player that qualified for Premier League this season. And I do think we have a very strong country. Even though two of us are here, not as players this time, I do think that we have a lot of strong players in France. He's the only one that actually made it, so definitely looking forward to what he's going to be able to do here against a very strong Protoss versus Zerg player himself in PuCK.
Yeah, PuCK is, as many have said to me, that he's the strongest Protoss versus Zerg in America, and he's travelled over today to hopefully show that with 2 Zergs in his group, qualifying through Challenger, 3-1 over Katachi's. And here we have a classic America versus Europe fight. America versus France in the first game of the day to open up the 3rd day here in Europe in Group E. Which 2 players are going to have a jump start to their group and hopefully look forward to playing into the winners match? We will have to find out very, very shortly. We have our maps ready as well. The 3 maps that we're going to be playing on, Todd, is Vanny Research Station for number 1, Expedition Lost for number 2, and then Catalina, if need be, for game number 3.
Pretty decent Swarmos maps, especially Vanny, to start things with here.
Well, let's see how FireCake's going to start this one off. We all know what to expect, but does he play to how people are expecting him to play? We'll find out as we are almost ready for game number 1 here, as players start their search for deeper runs in the World Championship Series here in the Premier League. PuCK versus FireCake. All right, let's begin. Up here to the north of Vanny Research Station is the red Protoss player. It is PuCK. Playing for his new team Flipside, joined at the start of the year. And down here in the bottom south side of here of Vanny Research Station, we have the French Zerg FireCake. Playing for his team Punchline ESC.
So yeah, on this map, I really think a good option of what you can go for is for Swamos. We saw them in action yesterday versus Stern, not versus Protoss, but you can take, I guess, a natural very easily, much more so than on other maps. The third base, not too hard to take either. And once you find yourself in a split map situation, you're going to be able to do very well because you're basically going to be in a position where you can push very easily and also defend your bases with all your static defense plus Swamos. PuCK already knows that. PuCK knows that if he goes to the very late game and doesn't do any damage up against somebody like FireCake, he's going to be in lots of trouble. So I'm pretty sure that he's going to aim to do a lot of damage to try to make something happen before he's possibly even forced to go into, you know, that Tempest transition that sometimes you have to go for if you can't break your opponent on the ground, which against somebody like FireCake can be very difficult.
So is there a time you'd say that PuCK is going to be strongest at? Around 15 minutes or so, or is that too late?
Maybe a little bit before that. If he goes for Blink +2 and a third base, there is like a 12 to 13 minutes timing that you can do with, you know, a lot of sentries and stalkers where you can force a lot of units already, maybe force a pretty bad fight from your opponent, you know, especially if he was to push around the very left-hand side of the map, you know, and stays in an area where it will be easier to force field. FireCake, very interestingly, he not only went for the pull first, but made a hatchery at the other position.
Yep.
Rather than going for the very safe natural. And I think this may be because he's worried of some kind of gateway aggression / all-in later on, in which case if he starts creep spreading as soon as this is up, he's going to be in a very good position to hold.
And PuCK has managed to scout that and has now ran away with his probe while throwing down his cybernetics core. Did go for a gateway expansion, or gateway then, pretty fast nexus followed by that cyber core. Probe still out in the middle of the map though.
Only one gas so far, by the way.
Which is going to be found very, very fast. Or will it? Did it just disappear outside the range of the Zerglings? And it's gone.
Yeah, he's just going to go home, I guess, with this. Only one gas from PuCK, and this is already getting scouted here from FireCake. So usually one gas like this means he wants to go for Warp Gate, maybe Chrono Boost it out even, and drop down at least, I would say, 3 more gates, and then go for aggression.
Well, the probe is still in the center of the map here, so it's right there.
Okay, now the second gas is going to go down now at least. Here for PuCK. And FireCake still no gas yet. He's going to play gas less for a little bit. Should drop these down. Not too late, ideally, if he wants to be able to start speed in case there was to be some aggression headed his way.
Well, Zergling's just on the edge of the main base of PuCK. Didn't really look at the Cybernetics core, which did have a Chrono Boost going into it, and a first Stalker is on the way. Still not having found that probe in the middle of the map, and if we are going to see some type of aggression coming out from PuCK, that probe will be the one that initiates it. There is an Overlord that's on top of that Cyber Core, seeing every Chrono Boost going into it. Sees an additional gateway being put down too.
Ooh, the Overlords could get picked off if FireCake reacts too late, and the Overlord is pushed towards the right. He was actually on hold position here, so should be able to get away, I think. Barely. Which would be a nice win here for FireCake, because a Stalker like this is definitely a big investment to try and at least get one single Overlord. Mothership core already being made as well, so... Oh, wow. He gets it! Last shot too.
Nice pick up. Roach Warrant, Spinecrawler have started here for FireCake, sitting on 1 gas currently.
That's very low. Why do you take it on the third base? A bit strange. Well, I guess the natural in this case.
Well,
very good map vision by FireCake, by the way. Overlords a little bit everywhere, links patrolling all around the place.
Yep, so far, not too fast of a start by either player. We see a Forge now coming in for PuCK off the back of those 3 gateways that he went for.
He's gonna start with third Nexus. He's just gonna take that very, very quick third before even getting additional gases.
Straight away there by FireCake. Very nice scout there, and that's gonna give him the information to make his next decision, really, on what does he do. Does he want to drone up heavily and start to move up tech, or does he want to try to plan an assault around this third base? Because it is relatively fast. Yeah,
I think he has to drone up, because he doesn't have link speed, and slow links wouldn't get there on time to do anything against this, really. There is already 3 gates, +1's on the way. PuCK's probably going to wall off a cannon at his base, so you will never be able to deny that base here.
All right, so we're going to enter the mid-game then, if that's going to be the case, as PuCK does throw down that first cannon to help protect this. But one thing to note, even though we've just kind of broken down this, okay, we're going to the mid-game part, that hasn't actually been done yet by PuCK. He doesn't really know exactly where his opponent is when it comes to Zergling speed, when it comes to his unit count. He's had no scouting information since that very early probe.
Yeah, we should see the first hallucinated Phoenix Peak sent across the map here momentarily, with which he's going to see around how many drones were made, how many gases were taken, if there is any Evo, which there isn't yet. First few roaches are being made.
Well, 8 roaches. You don't really build 8 roaches defensively against this fast third.
Unless he thinks that he might get attacked by a lot of gateways. You know, like there's this kind of fake third that you can take here as Protoss. And
no, he's going up higher with his units.
Yeah.
24 Zerglings, 6 Roaches. Evolution Chamber is down here. So let's have a look then. How much damage is this going to do? Because if PuCK just defends this nicely, great force fields, takes minimal damage, photon overcharge down, he's in great position. Because as you said, this ideally probably should have been a lot of drones, but he's going to try and break this. There's a cannon walled in. There's a lot of force fields available, and he catches 2, 3, 4 Zerglings or so. But as you can see on the minimap, a streamlined set of Zerg units on the way to the other side of the map. I'm not too sure if PuCK's been able to scout this yet, exactly.
Yeah, he's scouting with the hallucination across the map and sees the saturation. I'm not sure if from just that he's able to realize what's up.
Oh, Zealot.
Oh, the Zealot.
Not in the best position there. Sentries do come and force field there, but another warping of Zealot actually comes in to stop that gateway into the main base, and a sentry behind that too.
Unpower. He could have unpowered that, but so far good hold here out of PuCK with just the force fields that he threw down, and it's 65 drones to 59 probes, so I guess it's okay for PuCK here to hold on like this.
All right, he's just got to keep on holding on. Of course, photon overcharge will be down in roughly 40 seconds or so, but we have +2 on the way, and Immortal starting up 12 additional Zerglings again. We have +1 melee coming out from FireCake to really help his Zerglings to deal a little bit more damage, and Roach speed on the way too, as well as his mid-game tech choice, which is going to be the Spire. Very interesting play here. We have a Warp Prism down the right-hand side, as PuCK has requested a pause here, and it is paused. So right now he's on the defense to his 3rd Nexus, but at the same time Warp Prism on the right-hand side. But he has just requested a pause here, so admin's going to have to come and have a look at this, see what's wrong with him.
I don't know. How do you think things are looking? I don't feel like FireCake did enough damage for this attack to really be worth it. And then from this situation, okay, I'm not going to speak too much. Takes off his headphones.
Just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you here for joining us at the World Championship Series, as we will be continuing on with this first game of the day very, very shortly, as our fixer, admin, tech guy, wizard, magician helps fix the problem for the player.
The MacGyver of ESL.
The MacGyver of ESL. The MacGyver of the Intellect Stream Masters World Championship Series.
Also known as Tablet Guy from the programming
The Tablet Guy. The Taylor Swift Guy.
That's one of the worst nicknames, actually.
Taylor Swift Guy?
Yeah.
Or his real Twitter ID, which is like Mesimo Swift or whatever it is now, Esports Swift. But anyway, let's... well, actually, no. Let's not talk about the game. I was going to go into it then. We're going to bring up the vetoes for a second here. We do have a minute. So just looking at this here, Todd, the first veto of the day was by PuCK, and it was Secret Springs. Second veto, no, sorry, that was FireCake, first veto. Okay. Second veto and third were PuCK, which were Inferno Pools and Overgrowth.
What's happening with everybody vetoing Overgrowth?
And fourth by FireCake was Deadwing, which left us with the 3 that we're on. If you're just tuning in, the 3 are going to be Vanny Research Station, which we're on, Expedition Lost, then Catalina.
Secret Spring as first veto for Zerg makes sense, because like taking a third can be tricky. Like there's a lot of proxy pylons places that are very hard to reach or even scout.
Right. And Inferno Pools is just a veto for everybody. Yeah. But you'd say that Overgrowth is maybe towards FireCake's playstyle. You know, Swarm Host very popular, very strong on that map.
Quite possibly, I think.
And then Deadwing, I think, is a pretty comfortable Zerg veto as well, knowing that the third base it can be difficult against the playstyle that we see from PuCK. So
it depends. Some Zergs, they welcome the opportunity of taking a very easy fourth, and they like, you know, longer games, they like macro games, so they don't veto it, but most of the times you see it vetoed. It really, I guess, depends on the style of the Zerg themselves, and being a big fan of the Swarmos, especially if you get cross-map, it can be very tricky winning with Swarmos against a very good Protoss on cross-map position on Deadwing, so I guess I understand that veto as well.
All right, well, Looks like PuCK's got his headset back on, so he can continue on. And we have a look to see if FireCake can actually do some damage with the amount of units that he's invested to very, very early on.
Very important. Behind this, he's going for a Spire, not an infestation pit. So he wants to go into Mutas behind this just to try and surprise his opponent, I think. The thing is, PuCK didn't take any damage so far. He's going into Blink Stalkers. He's going to start making a lot of Blink Stalkers at a time. If PuCK just holds comfortably, which by the look of things he's going to do here, he's going to be in a great position to counter-attack with lots of Stalkers, do damage, maybe even finish the game.
Yeah, this is looking rather well. Very good strong there by PuCK. And he takes the lead in terms of supply. He's probably got a better economy as well compared to his opponent. And so far, looking all right. +2 on the way. Blink is on its way. But is that Spire going to be scouted? Don't forget about this Warp Prism that we saw going down that right flank a little bit ago. More pressure being applied here by FireCake.
There's actually some roaches ready in the natural of FireCake, so I guess he saw that Warp Prism flyby with the links he had on the top right-hand side of the map.
Must have, yes.
Definitely nice for him not to be completely not ready.
Well, the Spire has finished and 10 Mutalisks are on the way. The Warp Prism gets dropped here, 4 Zealots, but as you said, Roach is ready and waiting, but an additional warped into this back base here.
Yeah.
Are these Roaches going to be enough? They're not really being microed very well, so they are going to go down very fastly to the Zealot swipes, but additional 2 come to help out, and even more on the way back as well.
If PuCK rejoins his army with the Warp Prism that he has and just reinforced with lots of Stalkers, this attack will be so strong. But I think FireCake might just go for a base straight from here.
Well,
look, the Mutas, they're going to head straight into the natural of PuCK, who's just not ready.
This will be interesting then to watch as FireCake chasing down the Warp Prism. No pylon out here. The Warp Prism, very important. That is the one unit that's going to be able to warp in for the Protoss.
Yeah, this is actually quite good for FireCake. Now he's going for a full surround. And the Mothership Core is not there. It's behind.
If the Warp Prism gets targeted down here, very difficult for him to get close, and he is going to recall out. Whew. Very tense moment there from PuCK. He gets back to his third. He's able now to warp in the right amount of anti-air. But look at this, FireCake headed straight towards this location.
Yeah, he has a pretty massive army, and he's going to do this very well too. He's going to send the Mutas into the natural and most likely attack with the rest at the third base. There is quite a few cannons in the third base here for PuCK, so he needs to send all of his Stalkers to defend into the natural. Right now, they are not there, so he's going to start taking damage.
Yep, 3, 4, 5 Stalkers get warped in. 2 of them go down pretty much immediately before doing anything, and they do blink back behind the cannons. While at the same time, PuCK pushing forward into the Zerglings, into the Roaches.
FireCake's unit positioning for these big flanks has been insane so far, and again, he's going to go for the massive flank, and the Mothership Core is not there to recall this time.
Well, +2 attack is now complete here for PuCK, and he's got some pretty good force fields to separate a lot of this Zerg up, and he's just got to blink around here, and I think he's going to be able to do okay. There's quite a few Mutalisks, but not being able to do too much damage. The Roaches are going to fall down pretty fast now. There's some Mortals getting on top of them, and it looks like PuCK will edge out in this war right here.
Yeah, but he
it's
lost
the one with all the reinforcements coming through. The next one I'm going to be worried about.
Yeah, losing all of the sentries here is a massive deal. Not having Guardian Shield in the upcoming fights really gonna make his army so much weaker. Not gonna have any force fields as well against the FireCake, who's just basically in full melee/brawl mode. He's just making pure units and fighting head-on.
Well, the Mutalisks go back towards that third. They find the Mothership Core, and that's going to be taken out. Photonova Charge was activated. Some Stalkers blink into the main. Probes pulled away from that mineral line not to take any losses, but another assault's going to take place here. As you said, little sentries, if any. 0. No Photonova Charge.
FireCake just has so much more supply. I think he just has to take the fight. He has double the army supply.
And he's going to take that fight. The Immortal at the front goes down immediately here. And is PuCK going to be able to blink his way to be able to hold on to this third base? There are 2 cannons helping out in the assistance of this defense, and the Stalkers are continuing to be warped in. And it looks like he will push back FireCake one more time.
PuCK needs to be as cost-effective as possible. Same goes for FireCake here, but he can't attack into those cannons. Here, there are 3 cannons. They've been helping so much. He did kill 5 probes, which is definitely nice, but...
Another assault's on its way here. Another round of Zerglings, +2 attack about to complete for them as well. But, on the flip side, there is +3 coming in for PuCK.
That fun. +3 attacks upgrades is going to be a big deal, actually. With this many Stalkers. The thing is, it's a full base trade here happening. PuCK he's had enough. He's lost patience here. He doesn't want to defend anymore, so he moves across the map with lots of Stalkers. He's still going to try to defend back at home at the same time.
Oh, this is an interesting one. You think this can work for PuCK?
Hardly, like it's going to be very difficult. He needs a great position. I don't think that's one.
Yeah, it doesn't look too good. He blinks over the Zerglings, but then of course the blink is going to be on cooldown, so the Zerglings go for the best possible wraparound they can get, and everything is getting shredded here. The Stalkers are so low in numbers, and Museless just going for the fight, and he's going to be chased all the way back home, and he'll have his tail in between his legs as PuCK moved out and got instantly slaughtered, and has to run all the way back home here. And this is looking like a very dominant performance here from FireCake, using a composition that may not have been expected here by the American.
Yeah, definitely not. PuCK was already thinking about the Swarmhost. He went into a Robo Bay blindly for the Colossus, which are not great against Mutas.
And it looks like FireCake's coming in for the final punch here, as he's going to try to bring the Nexus down, and if he can, he's going to be able to take game number 1 here. The Zerglings get up and close against these Stalkers, Roaches and reinforcements, more importantly, streaming across the other side of the map, and the Frenchman is going to take game number 1 in a very aggressive style then, a very different one that we thought we'd see from FireCake today.
Showing us that he can do well without the Swarmhost as well. I guess he played to his image very well as well. Like, you know, against most players that, you know, like to play aggressive, this style probably wouldn't have done nearly as good against somebody like PuCK had he been expecting it. But right now, it really felt like PuCK already was thinking about the Swarmhost before there were even any sign of them ever coming out in this game. Didn't see the Spire. Usually, I would say, like, when you play Protoss versus Zerg and you go into a third base like this, which is very standard, you go into Blink and +2. If you don't find out about a Spire about the time it's already finished, like if you find out about it too late, you're already in a very bad position, because you're just not going to be ready for the defense, because there is going to be a defense in there, because the Zerg is always going to head for those mineral lines, those very exposed mineral lines, and yeah, you need cannons, you need Stalkers in position, ideally, and in this game, it's actually very hard to defend your natural base against drops. We've talked about this many times, but against Mutas as well. Like the distance between the third base and the natural is very, very large.
Well, FireCake is getting very close to his highest performance in WCS yet. He's never won a series in WCS. He's finished in last place the last 3 times he's played in Premier League. If he wins this, he's definitely not in last place. He'd be a minimum of 3rd, which would be his highest result so far. Let's see if that can come true as we load into Expedition Lost, our 2nd map of a potential 3. As we have up here to the top right hand side is the red Protoss player playing for Team Flipside. It is the American PuCK. Flipside Tactics to be precise. And then down here to the bottom left hand side, playing for Punchline ESC, the Frenchman Zerg. It is FireCake.
Flipside Tactics, actually, there's the team of Bells, another really good North American Protoss, who's himself pretty good against Zerg as well. Wonder if these two talk strategies. I guess PuCK is probably more known in terms of...
I have 8 active Americans, or 6 active Americans, 2 Canadians, so 8 active North Americans on their team.
Yeah, PuCK has been known for a long time, I guess, for his PvZ, and it's been mostly with that one style that we saw him go for in the previous game, you know, the Blink Stalkers, the Sentries. But in the previous game, I feel like he probably lost patience a little bit too early into the game. Against Mutas, you know, like, the moment you feel compelled you have to attack, then you're exposing yourself to that base trade, and you started losing a lot of probes back at home, and then he was forced into a really bad engagement. That fight in the middle of the map, where he traded but lost all of his sentries, really put him in a bad position. After that fight, I pretty much knew he was probably not going to win.
I can't help but feel that he got caught just a little bit off guard there. So coming into game number 2, I think he's going to be a lot more cautious, a lot more, he's going to be scouting a lot more and a lot more active with what's going on between the two of them, more so than just anticipating what FireCake could be up to. But we do have the 2 starting build orders here. Spawn in pool first, coming out from FireCake into the hatchery, whereas we have the Gateway, then Nexus. Identical builds from both.
Maybe he assumed a little bit too much. It's a really bad habit that you're going to have sometimes, because, again, StarCraft is a game of incompleted formation. So if you're playing up against a Zerg, you send a hallucinated Phoenix, and you see that he's making links in Roaches and he's attacking you. You need to dedicate all of your energy to force fielding back at home. This may be why he didn't have enough energy to send the hallucinated Phoenix across the map to see that Spire on time. And FireCake knew that. So he played to easy mage, went for the Spire, surprised PuCK, and won the first game. Simple as that.
Well, while the two builds start to really develop themselves here, let's talk a little bit about Expedition Lost. Surely, this seems to me, just looking on the outskirts here, as you are the expert to me, as 3-base Protoss, this can be difficult to play. Because of the way that the third base is situated, it's a little bit more out in the open, especially the playstyle that we saw from FireCake. But on the other side of things, surely this could be a very powerful 2-base Protoss play. Because that same kind of dynamic can work against the Zerg too.
Yeah, I think definitely. The problem is, I feel like PuCK is not so much of a 2-base Protoss as he is a 3-base one. Like he's very, very good with 3 bases, Blink, and +2. That's his style with a lot of Stalkers. 2-base, I haven't seen him do too many of those. And also, I don't know if he knows that. I know that. I think FireCake is really good against 2-base all-ins. Okay. I mean, he plays on the European ladder that had Protosses like Wellmu and stuff for the longest time, playing at the highest level. So he's got quite a bit of practice. I remember trying to Immortal all-in him a few times, and it's not going well at all for me.
Well, we do have additional gateways being stacked up now with only 1 visible at the front but 2 at the back. And there is a probe to the right-hand side out in the open that PuCK has usable. But there also is an Overlord right there, which is very, very close. And if he sees the probe, it's going to get chased down, and then this kind of surprise element is gone. But the probe is on its move. There was a slight glimpse. There was no click of the Overlord. Maybe he saw it on the minimap, but that is very unlikely because it was such a small blip. But a Roach Warren has started, which is the key in defending these types of attacks.
I think FireCake somehow kind of seems to be aware that there's the possibility that this kind of attack will be coming. He hasn't sent any Overlord in the main. He didn't see that the second gas was very delayed, but he already gets a Spine Crawler plus a Crypt Tumor on the third base.
And he has control of the Xel'Naga down south, and he's seen the pylon. So he knows that a pylon's out there. It's clearly not just going to be a pylon for no reason. There's a second one right next to it. A Warpin is spotted from the Xel'Naga tower as well, and FireCake has all the information at his front door here. He's got to start building units very shortly, and everything's going the Frenchman's way.
Yeah, but he needs to not neglect his drone production here. If he only gets units now and this doesn't do anything, then PuCK is going to be in a good position economically, and then he doesn't care about throwing away units like this. He could even just recall, you know, if he gets enough energy and gets in trouble. So even though FireCake is getting 7 roaches, I would like to see him droning up behind it if he wants to be in a good position here.
Yeah, there's 42 probes out. 4 gases have been taken now for PuCK as well, which means it's going to be a lot easier for him to move away from this type of attack. Robotics facility is the choice with moving away. And we are going to see these two take a fight in the center, as Roaches do chase this back. But that's quite a lot of resources there in terms of Zealots. We're talking like 8, 9, 10 Zealots there. And the robotics facility was scouted right towards the end there, as I think we saw FireCake get Overlord speed, which I would imagine is because he didn't really know what tech choice was going to be happening until he saw it last minute there, then cancelled the Overlord speed once he knew what was going on.
Yeah. A good follow-up here for PuCK would be an Immortal all-in. And by the look of things, this may be what he's going for. I mean, he threw down the Robo behind this, didn't go for a Forge at all, and now he's making additional gateways, so...
Don't you think it's really slow, though? If the first Immortal's now just starting, you don't want to move out with 1, 2... You want 2 to 3, but that's kind of a long way away.
It is, but you said it yourself. On this map, it's very, very difficult to take a third base and play it from there, play it as a macro game, so this might be what's encouraging him. Also, I think he realized that when he went for this attack and didn't commit to it, FireCake made a lot of units instead of making drones. For the longest time, it was 43 probes to 43 drones. Now, all of a sudden, FireCake called back up. He made about 70 walkers in total to 45 probes, but this may have been too much. It means that he's going to have that, I guess, mainly less units. Okay, that doesn't even make sense, but he's going to have less units basically than if he had droned up in the first place and then made units.
Well, he's still making 6 more drones. That's a lot of drones, FireCake. All right, let's see if he can make this hold, because PuCK is on the way to the other side of the map here.
Moving down. He's in his main, by the way. He's afraid of that backdoor with the debris.
Yeah, but it's going to happen on this right-hand side. Overlord's being cleared there. Looks like Spine Crawlers are being repositioned to the third base. Hydralisk Den is finished. The first 5 are on the way. But currently, FireCake not with the largest of army. It's not too different, but the quality clearly better for the Protoss. Position's going to be pretty good here on this right-hand side. You mean force fields are going to be very nice to use. You're going to get a lot of value from them, but 3 spines, Hydralisks, a lot of Zerglings.
You know what's crazy? PuCK didn't even wall off back at home. If he was playing live, man.
Yeah, life would be in there. All right, PuCK's going to have a go. 4 or 5 force fields put down. Some pretty good force fields. Traps 3-4 roaches at the front.
Yeah, with the Hydralisks are really going to help, but FireCake needs to make sure he doesn't lose too much before they get there here against the force fields. And so far, he's not doing too bad. PuCK's gonna start running out of energy on the sentries.
Yeah, he's very low actually, if not already empty.
Oh, he needs to not chase too far. If FireCake chases too far and gets force fielded in that tiny choke here, he will be in lots of trouble. So far, he's held, but it's not over yet.
All right, time to see another attack come out very shortly from PuCK. He's actually trying to take his third Nexus, but it's gone denied, and now the Warp Prism's going to be taken down.
The more Hydralisks FireCake gets, the better it's going to be for him. Actually, he starts a second Hydralisk then. He wants to get both upgrades at once, and
he's already got
Hydra.
He's already got the range. He's already got range. I don't know what that's about.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Maybe he wanted to get Infestation Pit and messed up.
Yeah, maybe. But we're going to see this fight. 3 force fields, trap 2 Hydralisks and 3 roaches.
Yeah, he's going to get a cancel as well here, FireCake on that third base. He doesn't need to be fighting, but I guess he has enough anyway to make PuCK recall, and PuCK is in so much trouble all of a sudden. He's been held, he's going to face mass Hydralisk, and there is no Robobay in sight.
And we see the Infestation Pit going down despite the second Hydralisk then finishing up.
FireCake's going to use the back door here. And PuCK is totally not ready. He was heading towards the third base. He could reverse the situation with some good force fields.
Gonna catch a couple of roaches out in the open, but at the same time, he also could get surrounded. There's a lot of Zerg here. Lot of Zerg. And the back door, still pressure on. Third Nexus going to be denied again.
The hatchery bottom right was blocked by a pylon there.
Cancelled.
That pylon block, man.
Difficult position for the American, trying to bring up his economy, trying anything to give him some breathing room here.
Yeah.
Force fields need to be landed. There is one, but he loses 2-3 sentries.
FireCake's even ready for the Warp Prism that's being used in his main here. He has a bunch of Spine Crawlers, some Roaches, the Queen as well.
Shut down in every department today, unfortunately, here, PuCK.
Yeah. I think FireCake from there, he could either gone for basically the attack anyway. Attack, you know, on the right-hand side, middle, even left-hand side if he wanted to. Or he can just take 2 Vipers. And he even starts his Hive before there is any sign of either Twilight Council or Robobay. It's just a great position altogether here for him. I really don't think that from here FireCake can lose unless he completely messes up. There's no way PuCK's coming back in this.
That's good news for FireCake. In his highest position so far in WCS.
Hive is just this close to finishing. I mean, at this point, he's gonna start Vipers before there is even the sign of the first Colossus. Yeah, Robobay starts now, but I mean, it's a little bit late. Buddy PuCK here. I like that he walled off at his back door, but I just don't see it becoming relevant in this game. His Warp Prism is never going to do anything in the main of FireCake. He has 4 spines there.
Trying to go up towards Colossus, but there's 5 Vipers on the way. Whether they're going to be used for Blinding Clouds or the Abducts.
5. That's a massive number too, but I guess I like it. I think, yeah, he's just going to abduct the Immortals, Blinding Cloud the rest. He's probably not going to lose a single unit, Apollo.
Yeah. What upgrades do we have from the Protoss now? 0.
Yeah. For the Zerg too, but it's not as important. I feel that he has like his mix of Roach, Hydra, and he's going to have the Vipers on top early enough to get the win.
Okay, now is the time to see if he can hold on to his third base, because as soon as these Vipers are ready, a fight will take place in between the second and third of the Protoss. If not on the third, depends on where the Protoss army will be. And if he can hold on, good for him, but it's going to be difficult.
The one way PuCK will hold is with immaculate force fields and lots of hallucinated Colossi. If there is no Overseer, and say FireCake abducts all of the fake Colossi.
All right.
Oh, there is an Overseer actually.
First couple of units go down for free here for FireCake, so a decent start, but here come the Vipers. Gonna pull out the mothership core, so no photon overcharge available to help these Nexus.
Those Immortals about to be abducted here. They're gonna be in trouble.
2,
Even
3
sentries.
3 sentries go down. 4, 5, 6 sentries go down.
I didn't think he was gonna go for that. Good force fields, but I mean, there isn't even enough firepower here for PuCK to get rid of the
Colossus, a fake here, but there's a lot of force fields. Trying to chop these units up. And he holds that area. He did a bit of damage inside that main base, killing a couple of drones there.
Yeah. PuCK's punishment for holding is going to be Enduring Locust starting in his game, Apollo.
Yeah.
He's getting a Templar Archive now to try and counter the Vipers, but I think at this point, FireCake just heads on home with the Vipers, gets more energy, goes for an attack, and this time I really don't see PuCK holding.
Yeah, that's the way that the first fight went. I think FireCake could have grabbed more of the expensive units and dealt a lot more, brutal damage, but it was more of a, I'm going to take away all your force fields, mate, and then I'm coming in again, and this time you're not going to be able to stop me.
PuCK is actually overconfident. He starts a 4th base.
Well, he's got to be outside of the middle of the map too. This is not a good place to be when the Zerg is ready to come through. Vipers reloaded with their energy.
He hasn't started warping in High Templars, and those Vipers have a lot of energy with some good force fields here.
Okay, Colossus gets instantly dragged in, and here goes the fight for FireCake. He's going to try and take this engagement. Good force fields block him off again, but he's going to swing around to the right-hand side. Do we have a force field ready on the ramp? We do have a sentry ready. The force field is planted, and again, access denied here. Continuing to hold on here is PuCK.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job of staying alive in this game, but FireCake lost 2 of his Vipers and remade them immediately, so his ideal composition, I guess, is lots of Roaches, Hydras, and 5 Vipers so far in this game.
The 4th is down. Colossus account starting to build up. We need to see a +2 attack ideally coming out from PuCK too, and he is starting to hold on. He can grab a couple of units here potentially.
He hasn't been using any Blinding Cloud, has he? He abducted so many of these sentries. I think it was a bad choice in the end.
Well, there's only 30 supply difference, and I think the first fight that we saw of 3 now was about 60, 70 supply difference. It's not too far away from each other now. PuCK doing very, very well to hold on in this game. And that 4th base is up. FireCake's changing his attention maybe up here. The Nexus already very, very low. He's swinging around to the 3rd. He's got a couple of Roaches going up there to try to bring down the leftovers of it. Again, 4 force fields. Take down a Hydralisk and a couple of Roaches. And a Warp and a Zealots to protect this location. Okay, he's just going to send his entire army to bring this down.
I think PuCK might just evacuate that base with the probes immediately and just try to buy himself more time. Like, I guess a Roach Hydra Viper army like this, if you're behind on upgrades and on tech, you're in trouble. But if you can max out and get a few Templars, you're going to be okay. So FireCake can't wait for too long here. He needs to try and do more damage. Maybe trade this army, replace it with Swarm Host. I'm not particularly wishing for it, but I do think it's the proper strategic move for him to do in this game.
Well, FireCake's army marches east. Likewise, PuCK to meet and greet.
Blinding Clouds maybe finally.
Oh, very good fight here for FireCake. He grabs the Colossus. He has a couple of Blinding Clouds, or just a single Blinding Cloud that grabs a lot of the Stalkers. And an excellent trade-off, losing pretty much nothing there.
Yeah.
And taking a good selection of Protoss.
He's very fast with those abducts, actually. Sometimes maybe even too fast and too eager. Finger on the trigger, man. It's very tempting to use all of them.
And now the Swarmos are in play, moving across the other side of the map. Going to start to siege this location a bit more aggressively. And more Swarmos to be added on. We do also have Roachbore, and I think that is a lovely addition to the army. So he can actually go around these force fields, burrow his way into the main base, and continue the onslaught there. But PuCK has decided to take this expansion back to the top left. Do you not think it would have been easier for him to take the right-hand side base, just south of his mate?
Maybe, yeah, actually. Well, I guess there is an overload dropping creep here, and he was afraid of moving in that position in case FireCake's army was ready to take a good fight. So, I guess he's being cautious. Now he killed a few units here and there, but are we going to see an engagement?
Oh, a couple of storms here would actually just end that army instantly.
Yeah, he needs to wait for Storm to complete. He's only halfway through done. Fighting without it could be in trouble, but I guess as long as he can get the feedback on those Vipers, this Roach Hydra army is basically only entirely relies on the strength of the Vipers. Like, without those Vipers, it's just trash.
God, again, more pressure to this expansion, and PuCK is running out of resources. His main and natural are pretty much done. He needs more money, and he must expand to a fourth location.
Yeah.
And very smartly, FireCake knows this.
We're going to head into FireCake's comfort zone here with the Swarmhost plus Vipers. Wouldn't be surprised to see some Static D being thrown down. Additional to that here in a second. And the hit squad, the Roach hit squad, is going to head for the back door here. And I really like this move because there is no perfect wall there. It's PuCK has only entirely relied on sentries. And look, he's even moving down the ramp. So FireCake could kill those sentries and the Stalker and get into the main, but he chooses to just go into the main anyway.
Hello. My name's FireCake, and I would like to go to the wins match, please. Why are you running away? Why are you running away? Why did you go back?
The regeneration, man. Okay. It's real.
It's real. He just wanted to... PuCK, I hope you saw exactly what I did before. If you didn't, here's a double take.
Yeah, PuCK can see this, supposedly.
And now he's just going to go right up to the back there. Very frustrating for PuCK.
FireCake's definitely taking his sweet time. PuCK going into a double Stargate worries me because you don't want to go into an air transition right now in a game like this where you don't have
money.
Yeah, you don't have a very good economy. Like, and also, like, FireCake already has the gold base. Like, he's in a great position here still. But surely he can't underestimate that Colossus plus High Templar army. That's a very deadly one. And I think PuCK realizes that and tries to make something happen before going further into this game.
Gonna look to grab a Colossus here.
Feedbacks.
Oh, good feedbacks. Unfortunately, that High Templar dies a very painful death. Another good feedback.
The creep spread could have been a lot better here, by the way, from FireCake. But I guess since he's very action-packed, it's very hard to keep up with that at the same time. He's still doing a very good job of taking bases. He just added 2 more. On the left-hand, right-hand side, he's getting his upgrades going. 15 more drones. Probably going to translate into a bunch of static defense.
Right. So where is the key to success for PuCK here, then?
He could try to...
He's still behind, right?
Yeah. He killed all of the roaches, I guess, except for 4 and, you know, the zerglings. And there isn't that much static defense yet everywhere for FireCake to be really safe. So if he started going for war prisms, you know, sent one in pretty much each base, warped in a lot of upgraded zealots, even though there's a few spines here and there, he might be able to do okay, you know, pull FireCake out of position and kind of ruin his economy. Maybe even doing storm drops, you know, because FireCake, he has the bank, but it's not big enough yet to replace his army, like, you know, twice or entirely. I think he's not going to bet on that, though. He's going for Void Race and might head into a mothership in a moment.
FireCake has a lot of money in the bank. 3,000 minerals, 3,000 gas. There's multiple expansions around the map. I feel like Void Race. Multiple different locations as well.
Void Race here are really bad, by the way. Like, if your opponent's mixing in Corruptors, it can be okay to get some of them, but what are they doing right now, really? Like, there's most likely, well, there should be Spores being added on, at least a few of them. There's going to be some Queens that can help very nicely against them. There is Hydralisks, very well upgraded Hydralisks. They have +2 missile attacks. I'm not sure. Both players are playing it very passive here.
Yeah. But it is PuCK that's losing in this passive game.
Yeah.
He needs more money. He needs to be able to build up the correct army to tackle what we have here. We all know that, you know, Blink Colossus type armies can do well when they have a bit of mobility and a bit of momentum behind them. But when you're playing from behind in this position, you need something else. You've got to have the war prisms that are, you know, spending money to drag him back and to harass him from the back lines. You're trying to build up this air army, which is the ultimate composition, but PuCK is stuck in a very difficult place here, while FireCake is just extending himself further and further and bringing in more and more resources.
Yeah, Stalker hit squad on the right-hand side is going to do some damage. And, you know, when you play against the Zerg like this, there is almost always going to be a weak point, and I feel like here the weak point of the Zerg is probably his natural, where he has all of his tech plus the Hive. If you send a War Prism there with a bunch of Zealots and some DTs, he could even send some DTs, you know, on that left-hand side base, which doesn't have any static defense for FireCake. So there is always places you can do damage, but PuCK right now is still warping in a lot of Stalkers, even though they are really awful against Swarmos in general in this situation. I guess he wants to harass on the right-hand side with lots of Stalkers and try to make something happen on the left-hand side with the main chunk of his army.
Well, in a second, we're going to see the third base of PuCK run out of resources, and this is where it's going to become really difficult as he's trying to re-establish this expansion to the right-hand side.
Double Dark Shrine Apollo.
Not good for when you're a little bit low on money. You don't want to be doubling up on some structures that don't need doubling up on.
Yeah, but I guess Dark Shrine is cheap anyway.
Every resource counts.
It's almost free, Apollo.
Every resource counts. There is no such thing as cheap.
You're absolutely right, except when you play other races than Protoss, then everything's cheap.
That's right.
All units are very expensive. Oh yeah, double Dark Shrine, definitely a mistake here. I guess if he loses one, he can be happy that he has another one. Unlikely to happen, but at least he's getting it. I feel like not making a Dark Shrine at this stage in the game would be a mistake, because there is always going to be a place you can do damage. And still, if you look at that natural for FireCake, I feel like it's the most important place, because if this was to be attacked, even though he's decent close enough to kind of defend there, any kind of attack will do a lot of damage here. He could snipe the Spire in like 1 second with upgraded units.
The approach to find some way of harassment is through these Stalkers. They got 2 hit squads on one side and the other, trying to do a lot of damage here. He's going to be able to pick off this expansion to the left.
Ooh, there's no Spore on the bottom right-hand side. There is only Spines. Oh, there is an Overseer, actually. DTs are going to walk in. The Overseer's out of position.
Yeah, and it's going to be taken down as well.
Oh, the Overseer's going to come back quickly. Oh, he's trying to snipe it. Oh, no, he leaves it alive. 10 hit points.
No,
he gets it. Where is the next one?
Nice.
I don't think there is a next one.
And PuCK is fighting back here. Absolutely fighting back. Blinkstalker's jumping around. DT's taken down 5 or so Spine Crawlers, but do get taken out a very expensive way.
He's not being cost-effective enough, right?
Yeah. I mean, look at the resource bank. 5,600 minerals, 6,000 gas, whereas PuCK has 100, 100.
Yeah. And the last gold base that FireCake took, that's PuCK's one, supposedly. He's making himself at home.
Difficult game here, very difficult. And you got to commend PuCK from a very difficult position that he found himself in after attempting to go for this 2-base attack and got pushed back quite severely, but is now crossed the 30-minute mark, but just trying to find a way to beat FireCake here, who's playing very resilient. Spine Crawlers absolutely everywhere. A middle map full of Swarm hosts. There's 27 Spine Crawlers in this game.
Yeah. I think FireCake is just going to keep on sending in Locusts, do damage here and there up until he gets bored, maybe lose a bit of army and then replace that with whatever he wants at this point. Like he could literally make 51 Mutas if he wanted.
And again, these Locusts just trading off what they can get. A couple of Zealots, High Templar, expensive ones at the front get taken down by Spine Crawlers. Sentries going down as well, and it looks like PuCK is just charging through the middle here. But charging through the middle, there is a lot of Swarmers behind this. There are Vipers available as well. And he backs off after clearing just a couple of lines of static defense, and that is it. And he pulls back once again here.
The right-hand side base is getting sieged a bit. I was getting attacked by Locusts, now they expired, and now Roaches are getting killed by DTs, but he can just, I guess, dedicate a few Swarmos to send in Locusts on the right-hand side if he wants, and I think he's going to do just that. Yeah, he's doing that, FireCake. He's going to send a big wave of Locusts on the right-hand side here.
And then...
Oh, that middle base. It's mine! Go away.
Get your hands off that. And it does get taken down. But PuCK currently is establishing himself on this left-hand side where this Nexus is, but he's already given it up. He's moved his army away. That Nexus is going to be taken down very easily.
These are changelings on the left-hand side. I thought they were Zealots. I was like, they're going to slay those drones. Nope.
False hope.
You know what would be funny if FireCake evacuated that base thinking they're real?
Yeah.
Oh, PuCK moving to the right-hand side here to try and pick off one of those bases. But I mean, even if he does, losing all of this army behind this will not make it worth it.
He's got to keep running. Swarmos are not far away.
The Overseer gets it. Gonna move on to the next base. But I mean, that one is even almost mined out here.
So much money in the bank here for FireCake. Even losing all these expansions, just kind of rebuilds them, pops them up and goes again.
He's actually remaking tech right now, FireCake. He's getting a Hydra Den and an Infestation Pit, like kind of in the middle of the map. Why?
Safety reasons when you've got a lot of money.
I guess. Oh, that Nexus on the left-hand side wasn't meant to be. No cancel either.
So the only focus now for PuCK is this hand side to be able to defend it. He's going to charge through the middle once again, but there is a line of static defense. The Nexus gets taken down. Likewise, we are going to see the Carapace cancelled here. Does get denied right at the last second.
I think PuCK is starting to realize that he can't beat the army of his opponent, so he's going to try to play, you know, base trade-ish style. But even that War Prism on the left-hand side gets spotted very easily by an Overlord, and he's getting his entire army abducted slowly but surely and killed.
Yeah, Archon number 1 gets picked up. Zealot number 1, Zealot number 2, 3, Archon number 4, 5. Taken down there, but PuCK is dropping in supply. He's 160, just tackling waves of Locusts. Wave after wave after wave, but there is no way he's breaking the center of this map. There are too many spines, too many spores, too many swarm hosts. There's a lot of army and corruptors behind this that can easily come and help out if there's any problems.
There is an about 10,000 resources loss difference right now, which is pretty massive.
Yeah, FireCake, the cost-efficient Zerg.
That's one way to describe him.
I'm censored. 5 Vipers, fully loaded on energy. Going to come have a couple of grabs or 2.
Imagine if FireCake played happy yesterday.
I think we'd still be casting today. Still be going on. Welcome to Group D, everybody. We're into the 16th hour of the broadcast.
Okay, PuCK's gonna take out that base again. He's actually killing quite a few drones.
Oh, it's expensive load that is.
Yeah.
A couple of Void Rays, a Colossus. 2 more gonna be picked off there, just on the edge. Oh dear, that's almost his entire army gone.
And yeah, there's no bank behind this for PuCK as well. He's just swapping some very expensive DTs on the left-hand side that got defended by all the Hydralisks. Plus the others
Unbreakable
here.
here. So when I'm looking at this, I feel like PuCK is standing at a brick wall and he goes, okay, I'm going to try number 1. Bang! Okay, can't break it. Okay, I'm going to try again. 2, and he's 3, and he's 5, 6, 7, and he just keeps on walking into this brick wall and he's not getting out. He's getting nowhere.
It's even worse than that. He's punching holes through that brick wall, but then he's rebuilding himself faster and he's getting damaged. That's the Swarmo's fault.
Wow, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, that's actually perfect. I like that.
PuCK very ambitiously just tried to
Regenerating brick wall.
Sounds like a nightmare.
I think this is for PuCK.
PuCK was actually trying to retake that left-hand side base, which is definitely pretty ambitious. They're actually both at 40 workers, but I mean, with the economy that he has, FireCake, literally go for anything he wants.
I think PuCK is starting to feel the economy pressure a little bit here, as he's very low in supply. He's got almost no income. He's got to pay for his family. He's got a wife to look after, kids to feed, bills to pay, and it's just not working. It's not working out for him. This is a very sad story.
I really don't know why he went for so many Void Rays. Like, they will almost never do really anything here. I guess he wants to force Corruptors out of FireCake, in which case you can storm them, and then if you win the air fight, you know, in some kind of parallel dimension, if FireCake kind of like attack moves and alt-tabs by mistake, maybe you can win the air fight, but then behind this, if PuCK knew the economy of FireCake, he would already be out of this game. I guess he needs to come to terms with the first loss he's going to suffer here.
Well, I think the way that this game's going to end is FireCake is going to take this expansion away from PuCK on the left-hand side, and if he can't hold this expansion, he cannot. He's got 0 chance to be able to win this game if he can't hold this, and already 2 Void Rays for free. So nice start to taking us out. A Stalker or 2 get picked up there. 3rd, 4th Void Ray, that's it. GG's called, and FireCake wins 2-0. And as mentioned before, is the furthest in a WCS that he's ever been now, as he's finished last place in the last 3 seasons. He's played in Premier League, this being his 4th. He's minimum of 3rd place. He'll be competing for 1st in the winners match a little bit later on. Congratulations to FireCake, well done. But PuCK, on the other hand, difficult series there. Very, explosive and aggressive game number 1 that we saw out from FireCake, and similar in game number 2 until he resorted back to what he knows best, the Swarm host.
Probably not very used of, playing against an opponent like FireCake, who just probably plays some of the most passive Swarm hosts you can see. I guess PuCK plays a lot on the LA ladder, and there's, Cats and these guys, but I'm not sure how close of a Swarmo style they play compared to FireCake. FireCake definitely has a few touches of his own, kind of like Stefano, to his Swarmo style.
Yeah, do you think there's, PuCK, if, in an ideal world, we say, okay, those games were practice games, they don't count, and he was able to play another best of 3, you think it would be a very, very different series?
I think he will do a lot better the next time that he will play against FireCake, because he knows a lot better kind of what to expect. Right. And it's not like there is a lot of content out there to study from FireCake either. Like, he doesn't play in too many tournaments, mostly French ones, which I don't think VODs are easy to find for. So, yeah, I think he'd do a lot better next time. If there were to rematch, which could happen.
Which could happen today, so we'll see if that's going to be a possibility later on. Well, congratulations to FireCake on opening us up here in Group E with the win, the first win of the evening. Now we're going to hear some words from him with Red Eye on the desk.
Thank you very much. Yes, thanks Sean and Todd there with the commentary. FireCake, well done. Congratulations on a 2-0 victory. When you came into this, were you personally aware of your relatively poor record whenever you've played in Premier League before?
Yes. Yes, but I have always been in WCS, and I was happy with it.
Okay. But now even happier, presumably, because you've at least got a win under your belt now in the Premier League.
Yes. Is it my first win?
Yeah.
Okay. But I didn't go through the group.
Sorry.
Yes, it's only. I'm not in the. It's only one match. I have to win either for GG or Sen. And I think it is now that it will be very hard right now.
Okay. How do you prepare for a tournament like this? And specifically knowing that you had a Protoss in the group, do you prepare anything special for him? Do you work on matches that you're playing beforehand? How do you set it up?
I play ladder games, and that's all. I played 10 hours yesterday, and then at the hotel, I try to remind me all the strategies, all the timing, and all the mistakes I used to do, and that's all.
Okay. And the match itself, did it go the way that you thought it would go? I mean, there was obviously, we've seen you play Swarm Host a lot in the past against Protoss players, so there was always a chance one or two of the maps was going to go that way, but was the plan executed perfectly for you?
The first map, yes. But in the second one, I didn't want to go Swarm Host. I wanted to finish the game earlier, because it's really exhausting to play Swarm Host. And I have a lot of match after this one, so I don't want to be exhausted against my next opponent.
Okay. I want to ask you about the community feedback for you, because it's fair to say that you have some critics out there, and sometimes people say things about you. What do you think about it? Do you care too much about it, or do you what are your thoughts?
No, I don't really care. I mean. On the internet, you can say pretty whatever you want. So, yes, I receive very bad feedback sometimes, but I'm not the only one, and I don't really care.
I mean, tell us who FireCake is. How do you view yourself? Because a lot of people say to me, oh, he's very arrogant, he's very brash, he's very confident and all the rest of it. But who are you really? Is that you?
I don't think I'm arrogant. And I'm not very confident either, but I try to do my best in StarCraft II, because you ask who am I don't know, I am only a student and I love StarCraft II, so I play the game and I do my best. That's all.
Okay. All right, well, very well done. Congratulations on the opening win, and we'll see you in the winners' game. Any preference on which player you play? I mean...
I don't want to play for GG.
You don't want to play the Terran. I thought that might be the case. Okay, FireCake praying to play Sen in the winners' game. We'll find out whether that happens next, because our next game is between the very experienced Sen and the mighty experienced 4GG. Join us after the break.